welcome back to the channel. My name is Crawford. This is Virginia's for Lowriders, and today, just like every other weekend for the last whole lot of weekends, we are working on the Mazda project. We are trying to get something done. Needs to be some form of progress made every weekend, so hopefully, in however many years it takes me to finish this thing, we can eventually drive it. That's the end goal. But if you've never been here before, make sure you go back and check out all of the rest of the build. There's like, if you added them all together before I numbered them, there's probably 30 videos of just this truck. So if you like following along for builds, go check out all of that stuff. Today, like I said in the last 10 videos, we're just letting ADD do its thing. I don't have any kind of general direction that I go in with each one of these videos. I just pick up the camera, start rambling, which I do a lot of, so expect that if you've never been here before. And I get something knocked out. I'm not sure what that thing is at the beginning of the video, but by the end of Sunday, progress will be made, and we are one step closer to actually driving this thing in the next 100 years or so. Hopefully before gas isn't a thing anymore. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Progress. So I'm going to do a little montage action of what I did this week, because I don't know what it is. During the week, it's easier just to press record and just do my thing and add it in afterwards. So no talking, just you're going to see me, what I did for the last 4 days off and on, knocking out some stuff on the engine mainly. And yeah, and then we'll get into it and I'll explain what I did. And yeah, if you've never been here before, do the subscribe stuff so I can stop rambling. So yeah, montage. All right, to give a brief description of everything that y'all just saw in the montage and an explanation of how Saturday didn't go as planned, and James and I we've been in the garage. It's like 1:30 in the morning, I think. We've been in the garage since, I don't know, 7 or 8 or something. We were out here. We didn't touch the truck. We actually fiddled around with this brake line flaring tool, and every time I did steel line, the flares turned out perfect. Let's see that steel one. Flares look great, exactly like they're supposed to. I bought this off of Amazon when I built the Caprice, and I could not get it to flare. So I have this cheap like AutoZone kit for like 15 bucks. I have a Blue Point kit that looks similar to this, but it's like more stout. I could not get this to work, and I have a bunch of this. So my buddy came by with a hydraulic brake flaring tool and made this work. And I kept thinking, man, I still got that line in the garage that I'll never use. I'm going to buy a tool to where I can actually use it. And then since then, the last 3 or 4 years, they started making these more widely available. So, short story, I bought one of these to make this work. In that time, I've been using this copper and nickel alloy stuff that's super easy to bend. Like, it's effortless to bend. We tried. This isn't all of them. We tried this many times. Oh, here's another one. To make this work. And then after like 2 hours of messing with this and adding oil and grease and trying different things, it didn't work at all. And then I Googled it, and apparently it's not made for this. So, yeah, then we went and got food. And now we're back out in the garage, and it's like 1:30, and we're probably not going to get anything done. But after all of that rambling, to go back on what I was supposed to explain earlier and I never did, everything that you saw in the montage, I polished the alternator. I didn't get the footage of that. I polished the distributor, painted some stuff in here. I ended up actually glossing the entire engine with a clear coat. I made these lines up out of the steel hard line that I bought to make this out of. Put the spark plug wires back on. Still trying to figure out coil placement. Got the valve cover finished up and finally fully polished. Got all this stuff bolted on. I changed the oil. There's a lot of little detail stuff. Bolted this guy on finally. And now, it's a last ditch effort to try to get something done before we pass out. We're going to mount the coolant reservoir in the way that I did my Caprice, which I will show in the morning because it's, again, 1:30 right now and it's dark outside. The way I did my Caprice, and the way we're going to do this is by using, what would you consider these? Boost coupler clamps, I guess? T-bolt boost coupler clamps. So I'll show you all real quick an easy way to use these, and it's kind of a clean solution and a really simple solution. When you buy these aftermarket, cheap Amazon, eBay coolant reservoirs, where actually a really good quality for the like $15 that it cost, they come with a hose clamp, like a normal hose clamp to mount this. So I'm going to show you a simpler, cleaner solution than the hose clamp thing. So we have the port coming out of the radiator here, port on the bottom of this guy. So the only clean way, I think, if the hose is ran here, the hose naturally, because they don't want to kink, or they want to kink, is the only way you could get it to do it cleanly was come through here. And I was thinking about it, if I was to mount it something like this, where it pokes through the core support. I think that we can run it through the core support, up along through here, and just poke it behind here into the radiator, and it would be hopefully a cleaner solution. I use my micrometer here to figure out the precise. Oh, I think I might have overshot it already. One far off. Just a little higher than I was expecting, but it's cool. Figure out what size that is. I got that little.
I think it's 11.
Socket set there.
Almost like I own a 4 pound stroke.
Almost. Gentle. Be gentle. A little quicker than that. Don't scratch the candy paint.
Wow. I didn't think you had that much.
A little more threads on there than you thought.
Yeah. I didn't think you had that much in there.
That smells terrible. God.
I'm sorry.
I gotta turn the exhaust fan on to crimp this one there.
Oh.
You didn't tell me I had to wear a paint mask today.
I'm sorry, man.
Hold on.
I'm sorry, man.
Oh, come on. Turn on before we suffocate.
Those darn double cheeseburgers, man.
It's on low. Does a little ramp up. Oh.
So nice that you let people with low IQs hang out with you on the weekends.
Gotta experience all this fun. And we'll put some clamps on there to keep it out of the way from rubbing on anything. Oh, a little low on the no, it's 5/16 line, not 5/16 outside.
See what size?
Half inch.
Oh man.
Maybe.
That's not bad looking.
Yeah, you gotta stretch the clamp a little bit though. A little tweakage.
Oh, that's good enough for who it's for. Oh man. Yeah, that's a little funky monkey.
Yeah, I have bigger ones.
Yeah, it might want to go bigger.
We got.
You got 9/16s.
No, we jump.
To 3/4.
We got 5/8.
Yeah, try 5/8. They gotta be perfect. Oh.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be.
A glove.
Hold your breath real tight. I'll get that tightened down. Maybe one is enough. I was thinking 2.
Because you want to run them like that. So I need to pull some slackery out of it.
I think one I'll probably do. I was gonna do the other one.
I don't know.
It's fine.
2's better than 1.
Okay. Do you still have that 3/8 one in your hand? Or do you have the 5/8 one?
I do the 3/8 one.
Or 1/2 inch?
Look at that. That's not going anywhere.
Never. This thing's got so much clamp on it, even though it weighs nothing.
And makes 87 horsepower.
That's irrelevant.
Somewhere
Okay,
over here.
while he's tightening that up, we can see the finished results here. Nice and clean, simple. Once the hood's on and you're at the local, I don't know, watering hole or car meet at Sunday morning at the local church like they do around here, I don't think this is gonna stand out. It's really simple. It doesn't even look like a catch can really, or a coolant overflow. And this kind of just disappears. Plenty of clearance for everything. Yeah, way overkill. It only weighs like maybe a third of a pound or something. Yeah, so let's try to maybe find something else to do now that it's 2:30 in the morning.
Let's pull the motor.
Yeah, we're gonna pull the engine out. All right, it is Sunday morning. Yeah, well, nah, it's like Sunday late afternoon. Actually, it's almost 2 o'clock. But it's a little hard to wake up this morning. But I figured I'd show y'all because I've said it 2 videos ago. I figured I'd show you some stuff on the Caprice. So, like I said last night, the coolant overflow on this has been on there for 3 years of driving around, and it hasn't moved or came off, or I don't know. It's pretty strong. It's mounted exactly the same way into the plastic shroud, but it is just a cheapy spray paint can, whatever quick color is, and it is. If you haven't noticed in previous things, the Caprice is like a rat rod, glow rider, I guess. This is a combination of, well, that's tight now, a whole lot of things to make this work. This is a Slurpee straw from 7-Eleven that I used as a pickup tube. I drilled out an AN fitting and all of that together, and if you don't tighten the crap out of it, it vents enough to function properly. Sorry, I live in front of, again, what people think is a drag strip, but yeah, those clamps work out pretty good, and you can position them in weird ways. I know it's not anywhere close to the intended purpose of those, but it's not bad. And then, like I said, in 2 videos ago, I was talking about the suspension. I had a subscriber comment and say something about it. Kind of hard to see, but there is no spring in the back of this. It is just a cylinder on the rear end in the spring pocket. Eventually I want to put a bridge in it and stuff, but really, this is a $500 car that I built 4 years ago or 3 years ago or whatever it's been, and I put gas in it and drive it. So it's on the list of things that I would like to do. Eventually I would like to body drop this because I think it would take the car to a much cooler level. As you can see, it sits, and I live close to the woods, and mice just let themselves in this thing. But yes, I would like to eventually body drop this thing. I think because it'll only be like maybe an inch in the rear. If the front tucked as much as the rear, this thing would look so much meaner. But yeah, that's it. We're gonna get back in the garage. I want to dunk the carburetor today. We're gonna start maybe sanding the floor down. I got a little bit of welding to do on the floor. I still need to lower the floor on the seat side, for the seat on the passenger side, which I'm not really looking forward to because I just do something and then procrastinate on it because, ADD issues that we have. But show you the inside of the trunk real quick, which it lets in water. So on a hydraulic system, I don't know if anybody, I guarantee you that there's, see, this is always good. Guarantee you there's guys that watch these videos that have experience with hydraulic setups. I'm just running accumulators and they take care of everything. So there's no need for a shock. And this thing literally rides better than a factory vehicle when it's a quarter inch off the ground. It just floats. So yeah, enough rambling about this thing. That's not what the video is about. Let's go in the garage and try to make some progress. All right, so we're gonna continue to focus on a little bit of mechanical stuff this week. This thing has been spray painted, it looks like 3 times, and it is disgusting. It's obviously been leaking over who knows how long. There's like all kinds of crazy buildup. I need to completely disassemble everything, take off all of the electronic stuff, all the diaphragms, pretty much everything. I have a ultrasonic cleaner right there, buried underneath a bunch of crap. So I need to get this all tore down, throw it in that guy. I need to pick up some brake clean and some carb cleaner because I'm pretty much out. And then we can reassemble this guy. Whenever I do carburetors for the very first time that I've never done before, like I've rebuilt, I don't know how many carburetors over the years. Not specifically automotive related, but a whole lot of equipment related ones. I try to have a box because there's a lot of little springs and doodads and things that you wouldn't normally see on anything else that can fall off or out of this thing while you're working on it, and they always roll off the bench and hit the ground. So if you're doing something like this, this is good practice. Prop up a box. I just have it leaning on this little toolbox thing here. So yeah, we're gonna break this down, start hot tanking it today. I don't know if I'll get it back together today, but at least it'll be clean and prepped and ready to go back together sometime this week. Yep, just what I figured. This thing was progressively running worse and worse, and I figured it was just picking up trash from the fuel tank. It had one of those terrible glass filters in it, and obviously that glass filter wasn't doing anything because that bowl has all kinds of trash in it. Everything else looks okay, not terrible. So I'm going to take off the electronic choke. There's really not much to this carburetor. With the ultrasonic cleaner, as long as you take the diaphragms off and the electric parts off, pretty much everything will work fine. And you can just brake clean it afterwards or carburetor clean it afterwards and blow it out with air real good, and it gets, I'd say, like a solid 85% without doing anything, and then you got to do the rest of the work. Yeah, that's pretty dry rotted. All right, this is my ultrasonic cleaner. Basically, it'll hold a full-sized 4-barrel carburetor. That's what I was going for with this. Like, I fit complete Edelbrock's in here, pretty much. It's set to 60 degrees Celsius, and it heats up, so it takes a little while, maybe like 20 or so minutes to get up to that temperature. And then the timer is adjustable. So usually what I'll do is set it in, cook it for like 20 minutes, and then flip everything over, cook it again, completely blow it out with air, check it all over, make sure everything looks good, and if I find any dirt that didn't come out, I'll turn it on just that side with like the lid off and cook just that side. Normally people would run like a soap solution inside of these, like I don't know, they use them in hospitals a lot, or they use them in cleaning jewelry and all kinds of random stuff. You can get a cheap version of this from like Harbor Freight for like, I think last time I looked it was like $80 or something like that. And they work for a long time with the solution in there that I use, but eventually it eats the plastic, because that's what I had before, and it didn't work out too well. So I finally upgraded to this guy. This thing's awesome. It has saved me and my friends hundreds and hundreds of dollars for, I don't know if you can actually see them, but chainsaws, lawn mowers, and anything with a carburetor. It is saved, because I don't know if you've ever worked on a chainsaw before, but the carburetors are about this big, and you get a little bit of varnish in there, and you try and carb clean it out, brake clean it out, it does not come out. So that thing with the ultrasonic, which you'll see like ultrasonic vibrations, it removes 90% of everything. I'm really hoping it takes that ugly silver spray paint off there and at least makes it aluminum. If it's aluminum, I can just clean it occasionally and hopefully it doesn't get chalky, but that silver spray paint's terrible. So, I'm gonna wait for that, go get a drink, and yeah, be right back. Still waiting for the thing to warm up. I decided I'm not going to do any sanding and grinding today, because the smells that that thing makes, plus the smells of the welding and grinding and all of these things mixed together, I know I'm going to get a headache afterwards. So I'm going to run the fan occasionally, pull them fumes out of here. I don't want to add any smoke and stuff to it. But I didn't really elaborate yesterday. I went through and edited everything I had so far. I didn't really elaborate on the reasoning behind this. I really don't like these things. I know everybody runs them, and having so many Hondas back in the day, and everybody had them on their Honda, and this seems like the, I don't know, the solution to everybody's problem when it comes to a valve cover breathing apparatus. So still running the factory PCV, and it's just hooked to this hard line. So normally, if you aren't a Mazda person, this would go there. That's how everybody does it. But this never made sense to me, because you're filtering the air that's coming out. I don't know. It's trash. So this is what I came up with. Kind of replicates the factory rubber lines that were here, but it cleans it up a little bit. And I wanted to crimp this line. That's why I bought that crimper that I spoke about last night. Turns out that that crimper just doesn't have it in it to crimp that steel line. That stuff is really tough. So I ordered, and it actually showed up pretty quick. I'm losing it. Keep setting stuff down. I really need to clean the garage. I ordered aluminum line in 3/8, and it crimps it perfectly. And my idea behind this, like, let me set that down in the trash again. These are crimps also. These are like little clamps that, I mean, they're on there, but I just keep thinking about it, like, how is it going to act with vibration and whatnot. I'd like to put a flare on the end. That way this portion is flared and it literally can't come off. Same thing on here. So I'm thinking, while I still have my polishing stuff out and I have a huge mess over there, I'm going to attempt to polish that, flare it, remake that stuff into these lines and install it, and see what we look like with polished lines instead of this kind of weird color that kind of actually matches this stuff that's not supposed to be green on my engine. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to avoid the ADD, OCD, I don't know what's going on. I just really don't feel like grinding. That's all it is. So we're going to avoid grinding. We're going to avoid welding and laying on our back and getting splatter all over us today. And mess with detail stuff. I'm going to start a little bit of wiring, I believe. I don't know. It's already late. I'm all jumbled up. Terrible, just terrible this week. But we're making progress, so it's cool. I wasn't totally sold on the polished aluminum look, but I don't think it looks too bad. I got all this other extremely shiny, polished stuff going on anyway. I think it looks pretty good. So this one, from the factory, this little tube would have just jogged over to the factory intake. The Weber conversions actually have a hole in the bottom of the intake cover that this is supposed to hook to that just nobody ever uses. So I'm going to try to utilize that since it's all here. And now this thing is close enough to temperature. Oh, and I actually was thinking about it. Never said what's actually in there. I use the gunk or the Berryman's, whatever, carburetor cleaner buckets, whatever I can get from the local parts store. So normally you would buy this and just soak a carburetor in it and it does a really awesome job. But when you add heat and vibration to the equation, it works very, very well. Not sure which way we should go. We'll just go as if it's sitting in the car first, or truck. So set it to 20 minutes, and it makes this absolutely terrible noise that makes your ears feel like they're bleeding, and you wait. So go find something else to do while that's making all that racket. Right, initial moment of truth. Gotta grab something to pick it up with, because I think 60 Celsius is, I don't know, math, well over 100. Yep, took that ugly silver spray paint off. Also took off all of the coating from the factory, but that factory coating really doesn't matter if all of it's covered up. So now just rotate and repeat. Oh yeah, it's a little toasty. Look at the brass stuff though. The brass looks brand new. I love this thing. All right, so carburetor is clean. I don't have any brake clean. Microphone died while I was saying my microphone was about to die. So, but I was going to say, we're going to wrap it up for tonight. I didn't get nearly as far this weekend as I wanted to, but I did a lot of stuff this week. Not huge steps in progress as far as like getting a 3-link done or the exhaust or like anything like that, but it's still progress nonetheless. There's a lot of detail stuff that went on this week on the engine, so the engine is just about wrapped up. After the carburetor's rebuilt and installed and a couple of the specialty hard lines come in and the exhaust gets fully welded, it'll be finished completely, and then I can move on to electrical, which I tried to do, and turns out that the kit that I ordered, I thought it was a Deutsch DT slash DTM slash whatever, and it's only a DT, meaning it doesn't have heavy enough gauge of connectors to handle what the fan is going to pull on amps. So I gotta order more stuff. But the carburetor is looking pretty good so far. Like, it's all raw aluminum. This like black tint that it has will come off, Usually brake clean takes it off, but I went through my flame cabinet and I have absolutely no brake clean. I got like 10 cans of carburetor cleaner, and that's not touching that stuff. You can actually wipe it off with a towel, but I can't get my hands and fingers down inside of those little cracks and crevices. So I'm gonna stop and get a case of brake clean on the way home, DT connectors, and we're gonna continue to get stuff knocked out. I finished editing the footage that I have so far, and I didn't realize that we're already at the normal time that I would have been at for every other weekend, so it's probably about time. I should have wrapped it up anyway. So, if you've never been here before, thank you for watching. Hopefully you subscribe, check back in. Normally this is fabrication, which there was some types of fabrication this week, but normally there's some form of metalwork. And I believe that next week, as long as I get this bomb-looking destruction zone of garage cleaned up, hopefully I get that cleaned up this week and we can get back on some welding. I'm going to start next week by getting all of this metal worked, and we're going to finish the cab mounts. We're going to get all of this seam sealed and primed. I'm going to try to pick up some paint this week that the color of the truck is going to be when it's finished, so I can do the door jambs. That way I can put the carpet in and not worry about having to go back and paint the jambs later on. So I don't know if I had mentioned it last week, but I dropped the seat off, I dropped the door cards off, and hopefully they're done within a week. If the guy, I don't know, he's pretty vague on what he was saying, but he made it seem like it was going to be, I thought it was going to be last week, but regardless, everything's dropped off. So hopefully the interior can get completely done and finished up. That means the engine bay, after wiring and stuff, will be done. The interior will be 100% done and jams painted. Then we can move on to painting the frame, and hopefully eventually, like I said in the beginning, hopefully eventually we'll drive this thing. We got most of the big stuff done, so I'm rambling, and I'll see y'all next week.